Ghana's government is going on a spending spree ahead of next year's general elections. In his 2020 budget announcement, the country's finance minister proposed a 21% budget increase, but asserted the government will remain fiscally disciplined and avoid overspending. But some economists aren't convinced. CGTN's Nabil Ahmed Rufai reports now from Accra.
Domestic revenue is estimated at 65.8 billion.
This was the last budget delivered in Parliament ahead of Ghana's general elections next year.
To raise up to $3 billion US dollars.
In it, the government called for spending to be ramped by a fifth next year to 15.5 billion US dollars. It's a sizable increase, but the finance minister insisted the government would adhere to the Fiscal Responsibility Act, which puts limits on excessive government spending.
We will do so not because we are complacent of our chances. No, we will do so because the nation needs it, and we are not prepared to throw away all the sacrifices and gains the people and their government have made in the last 3 years.
He was referencing the sacrifices made during the country's latest bailout, its 16th with the International Monetary Fund. Ghana exited the program in April of this year, and since then has enjoyed economic stability helped by oil, gold and cocoa exports. The IMF is expecting 7% growth this year. However, the lender cautioned against budget overspending, saying it could destabilize the country's economy.
For the last election year in 2016, the government targeted a budget deficit of 5.3% of GDP, but it could not achieve that and recorded a deficit of 7.8%.
The finance minister said the 2020 budget proposal would increase the budget deficit to 4.7%, which is below the legalized ceiling of 5% of GDP. But not everyone is convinced. The Economic Intelligence Unit projects a 5.5% budget deficit next year. Meanwhile, some opposition politicians want the government to put more focus on improving the country's economy.
You need to be able to meet the developmental needs of the people, even while trying to keep your discipline. So if you continue in 4 years, you continue to spend virtually all your money in consumption, as opposed to the real developmental needs of the people, you have totally repudiated your claim to leadership.
To shore up the balance sheet, the government said it will strengthen domestic revenue generation next year and raise funds from international investors. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, CGTN, Accra, Ghana.